a quorum, even though one or two colleagues are still finishing their pavlova. The item number 14 is in relation to ordering names on the voting documents for the 2019 elections, and the recommendation is that they be in alphabetical order on the basis that it doesn't seem to make any difference if you make it in random order, except it costs more. But I think I've just stolen your thunder. Warwick, welcome to the table, and would you like to introduce the item?
Thank you, Your Worship. I wasn't intending to make any major comments here, but just on that, your own comment about it costing more, there was a time when it did cost more. At the moment, now with the current printing technology, there's no difference in cost or minimal difference in cost. Yes.
Okay, so it's really just a case it doesn't make any difference, except if people are looking at their little booklets at home that are in alphabetical order and trying to line it up against the names on the ballot paper.
We don't believe there's a compelling case to make it more difficult for people.
Okay. That's probably a good summary point. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to that? Okay, I'll move it formally, seconded by Councillor Clow. Are there any questions?
Should get a W to second.
It should be a W and an S that move and second it, not a B and a C.
C and G.
Happy, quite happy.
Any questions? I think it's pretty straightforward as a paper. Yep, I'll come to that if there's no questions. No questions. Comment? Councillor Walker.
Just a comment, and that is that the advantage of alphabetical order is it's logical and it's easy for people to find things, as compared to random. I don't think randomly, as I think most of us don't. So
I think randomly.
Yeah,
There's a sensible comment from a candidate whose surname begins with W. So
and who's never random.
Must be something.
Right. Okay. Any further comment? If not, I'm just going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. Carried. It's a little bit quicker than the last item. We get to item number 16, which is the actually 15. I'm just getting too enthusiastic. 15 is only one page on the main booklet, but there is a supplementary item on online voting. We had that discussion yesterday in workshop, but Margarita, I might just get you to, I think almost everybody's at the workshop, but you might like to just speak briefly to the paper and the recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So you will remember that in May 2018, you approved, you supported online voting in principle, subject to some conditions being met. We went away and did a considerable amount of work with 8 other councils to try and make a trial possible for the 2019 elections. And what the process enabled us to do was to work with the Department of Internal Affairs to get the Local Electoral Matters Bill introduced and then through Select Committee, and we did make some. We did appear in front of the Select Committee for this. We also worked on with the Department of Internal Affairs on the proposed regulations, which really have some of the processes that online voting would follow. We went through a very thorough request for proposal process. We had 5 providers who submitted a proposal. We shortlisted 2 submitters, so 2 providers, and then selected one. That provider is Smartmatic, which is an international organization who has considerable experience in online voting around the world, notably in Estonia since 2005. This enabled us to develop a very complete business case and to model the cost that the trial, the cost that would be needed to make the trial happen. At that stage, some of the councils expressed some concerns at the level of cost, and we were not able to get 9 councils over the line to continue with the trial. So as some of the councils decided that it would be too expensive, it created a domino effect with other councils not being able to bear the cost. So we really are at a point now where I would love to put a proposal in front of you that we proceed. However, the way we went about it, the initial approach with 9 councils wouldn't be possible. So as an alternative, what the recommendations in front of you propose is reconfirm your support and ask the mayor to write to the Minister of Local Government to try and get a single system and a single way of approaching online voting for the whole of the country together for 2022. But what the 2 trials, or the 2 attempts rather, in 2016, or 2015 and 2018 have proven is that a coalition of willing councils is not enough to make it possible, and we need to find a different approach. So I'll leave it at that. I'm very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Before we move to questions, I'll move pro forma the motion. And have I got a seconder for the motion?
Happy to second.
Councillor Walker, seconded. Let's move to questions. We had a chance yesterday, but if there's anything new that people want to bring to it, Councillor Filipaina.
Thank you, Your Worship. Marguerite, it's just in regards to B. I'm reading it that unacceptable for the participating council is us, or participating councils as in the list that we had previously. That's the only thing. I'm looking at B going, due to the cost being unacceptable for the participating council, namely us. If it is, well then I just think that a full stop under, after being unacceptable, full stop. Or are you implying the other councils as well?
Yes, you're right. There's an S missing at that.
Oh, okay.
Grammatical.
Sorry, I'm looking at the printed copy, and I was wondering
It's in there.
what you're referring to, Councillor. Yeah, no, there is an S on the
Okay, cool.
participating councils.
Yep, thank you.
That's an important S too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Your Worship. My question is around the fact that the resolutions, whilst sort of in theory I agree with, one of the things for me is the trial was key, to trial it, to find that it was secure, it was going to work, and therefore we'll progress to online. So my worry about, and I get C, reconfirm it in the support for online voting, but when you move down to E, I just wonder whether it would support Auckland Council continuing to work with the government, other councils and local government sector organisations to trial online voting as soon as possible. We've already said in C that we confirm our support for, but the key is what we really want the government and other do we want this trial? Isn't that what E should be saying?
Yes, I mean...
You've doubled up. You either reconfirm your support to trial online voting under C and leave E as it is, or, which probably is the order, because I don't mind which way you go, but you've said the same thing twice, and I think what's missing from the resolutions is the fact that you haven't, what we should be doing is to try and trial this as soon as possible.
Okay. What was meant here in the way we constructed the recommendation is A, your support in general for the introduction of online voting, or for a trial, and what was meant in E is just the approach that we would take to try and make it possible. So,
I just
but
want to
I'm very happy to.
So if you had to use trial, my question, second question, Your Worship, if I may, through you, if you wanted to have trial put into those resolutions, would, in your opinion, would it be better to reconfirm its support to trial online voting, or in the bottom? I actually think E would be better. Because what we need to do is support Auckland councils continuing to work with the government, other councils and local government sector organisations to trial online voting as soon as possible.
I think it's a fair point. I think we can say that we reconfirm our support for online voting, but what we're trying to do is introduce a trial to it, so it's more accurate. If you're comfortable with that, Marguerite. So we just changed that to trial online voting as soon as possible. I think that, because that's what we are doing. We were only going to do it for a section of the electorate, so it was by definition a trial. That's good. Thank you very much for that.
And the seconder happy with that?
Absolutely.
I think.
Yep. Sorry, I should have checked with the mover and seconder.
I'm always supportive
Mayor
of
Culper.
especially at Christmas time.
Councillor Clow, question? No. Councillor Cooper. Question? No?
It's
Councillor
in lieu of-
Filipina,
in
third time
lieu of
lucky.
Both councillors saying no. Can I ask another one? Question?
Yep, yeah, of course.
Because of this recommendation, when do you think the next practical time that we could trial the online voting? I mean, I know it's not for 19. When do you think we would at least get to that stage of a trial?
So
Next one after that, I don't.
By-election.
Ideally, if we could, we're going to need to engage with the Minister of Local
Yeah.
Government and seek her support. But one option would be, if we can secure the funding, is to select a system and actually build it and have it available for any by-elections between now and 2022. And failing that, it would definitely be to run a trial for the 2022 elections.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we come to comments. Are there any comments? Maybe I'll just introduce it by saying tried very hard to get a reply from the Minister for Local Government yesterday on possible time frame. If anything, the implication by staff members that we did get hold of was that it wasn't on their radar to do it immediately, but we will try again with that. And the second thing then is cost. But there's no point in really worrying too much about cost if we won't have the legislation in place. So we need the answer to that first of all. And it may be worth raising without maybe great hope and expectation, but whether the Minister, given the problems that councils had with the funding, would be prepared to contribute to trialling it and Auckland doing it on its own. But that may depend on the ability or the willingness of the Minister to trial it in Auckland. We would be looking at a bigger subset, but it might be worth just raising that question with her, because if you don't ask, you'll never know. Other comments? If not, we'll move straight to putting the motion as it is, A to E. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. Declare it carried. Is that unanimous?
Yep.
Yep, that's unanimous.